In recent years, the Doctor Who Christmas special has been a staple in the Christmas Day TV schedules. But this year, that's all set to change, with the festive special moving into a New Year's Day slot. In this special edition of the Best of Doctor Who, I'll be providing an overview of the specials that aired between 2005 and 2017, picking out some of my favourite episodes and moments along the way. So grab your sonic trowels, EMP devices, and maybe a mince pie too, as I take a trip into Doctor Who Christmas Past. Doctor Who hasn't always been so strongly associated with Christmas. There were few references to the festive season in the classic era, with only one episode ever being broadcast on Christmas Day, the now missing The Feast of Stephen. Although the producers recognised the need to make this episode a bit more comedic in tone, I'm not sure it can be classed as a proper Christmas special, even if the Doctor does break the fourth wall at the end to wish viewers a happy Christmas. Likewise, despite being set at Christmas, the 2005 adventure The Unquiet Dead isn't a Christmas special in the way we'd understand that term today. It wasn't until the 25th of December 2005, 40 years after The Feast of Stephen was broadcast, that we got our first official Doctor Who Christmas special. Following the success of Series 1, a special was commissioned alongside Series 2 in April of that year, but it wasn't until later on that it was confirmed this special would air on Christmas Day. With Christopher Eccleston having left the show after just one series, it was decided that the new Doctor, played by David Tennant, would make his debut in this festive episode. Every year since, a special has aired in this Christmas Day slot. Whether broadcast in the spring, the autumn, or a bit of both and split in half, each series has been accompanied by at least one special. Furthermore, in years where there has been no new series broadcast, the Christmas special has taken on an even greater significance. The return of Doctor Mysterio was the only new episode broadcast in 2016, for example. As standalone, feature-length episodes, the specials have a different job to do to the main series. Even more so than usual, they must draw in a wider, family audience. But that doesn't mean they can't feature callbacks to the previous series, or set things up for the next one. The specials have seen Doctors come and go. They've featured a number of big star names, often as guest companions, and they've pulled in some of the show's biggest ratings. As the longest running new series Doctor, the 10th Doctor has appeared in the most Christmas specials at 5. These 5 specials are also the only 5 written by Russell T Davies, and so are sometimes referred to as the RTD specials. They've often been described as stories that just so happen to be set at Christmas, as opposed to Christmas-themed episodes. It's certainly true that Christmas is more of a background element in these stories, serving only to give them a sense of scale, really. The Sycorax invasion and the Christmas invasion could take place at any time of year, but setting it at Christmas makes it all the more monumental. The same could be said of the crash of the Titanic in Voyage of the Damned, or the rise of the Cyber King in The Next Doctor. As for The Runaway Bride, it's one of the least Christmassy Christmas specials of them all, and I do think having Donna's wedding take place on Christmas Eve stretches the bounds of plausibility a little too far. Having said that, there's still lots to enjoy about these specials. For one thing, they feature loads of Christmas-themed monsters, most notably the pilot fish robot Santas, a killer Christmas tree, killer baubles, and the Heavenly Host. And snow always features, even if it's actually just falling debris from a blown-up spaceship. There are some impressive set pieces, such as Donna's leap of faith in The Runaway Bride, the Sycorax's blood control stunt in The Christmas Invasion, crossing the engine room in Voyage of the Damned, and the Doctor's last stand against the Time Lords in The End of Time. Typically, these specials start by following on from the previous series finale, which, more times than not, ended with the Doctor and the TARDIS shouting, "What? What? What?" and end with an offer of Christmas dinner, to which the Doctor sometimes accepts and sometimes refuses, depending on what mood he's in. Coming just after a series finale, they often feature a Doctor who has just lost a companion and is still haunted by that loss. Rose's presence is very much felt in The Runaway Bride, for instance. In fact, her name is the last thing spoken in that episode. By the time of The Next Doctor, the Doctor has also lost Martha and Donna. One of my favourite moments from that episode comes right at the end, when the impact of these companion departures on the Doctor is addressed. Jackson Lake understands this to a certain extent, having experienced what it's like to be the Doctor, and also having lost his own wife. His offer of Christmas dinner in memory of those we've lost is a suitably festive statement of family and companionship. The 10th Doctor's final Christmas special, The End of Time, is significant for being the first Christmas special to double up as a regeneration story, though technically the 10th Doctor didn't actually regenerate until New Year's Day 2010, when the second half of this story was broadcast. Christmas features much more heavily in the 11th Doctor's 4 Christmas specials. Whereas some of the 10th Doctor's specials could have been set on any day of the year, these episodes could only really take place at Christmas. They're rooted in festive ideas, traditions, and even literature. As it says on the tin, A Christmas Carol is a Doctor Who spin on the Dickens classic, whilst The Doctor, the Widow and the Wardrobe owes its title to C.S. Lewis. The settings of these specials are evocative and often very snowy, as if taken from the front of a Christmas card. There's a Dickensian colony of Sardic Town in A Christmas Carol, some snowy alien forests in The Doctor, the Widow and the Wardrobe, Victorian London, for real this time, in The Snowmen, and the idyllic town of Christmas in The Time of the Doctor. In most of his specials, the 11th Doctor is presented as a madcap, Santa-like figure, going out of his way to help people. A Christmas Carol sees him take on the role of the ghost of Christmas past, in an attempt to turn Kazran into a better man. In The Doctor, the Widow and the Wardrobe, the Doctor tries to return a favour given to him by Madge a few years before, making a fairground of Uncle Digby's house in order to give her and her kids the best Christmas ever. And in The Time of the Doctor, he protects the town of Christmas for many centuries, just as an act of kindness. There's also a theme of loneliness in these specials. Kazran begins A Christmas Carol as a bitter recluse, but, due to the Doctor's intervention, ends up falling in love and learning the true value of companionship. In The Snowmen, it's the Doctor himself who's taking on the role of Scrooge, but Clara manages to pull him out of the dark and back into the light. The special before this sees Madge encouraging the Doctor to pay Amy and Rory a Christmas visit, telling him one should never be alone at Christmas. An example of loneliness gone wrong can be found in the form of Dr. Simeon, whose inwardness as a child is what allows the great intelligence to manifest itself. Perhaps the best statement of loneliness comes in Abigail's song, however. When you're alone, silence is all you know. The 12th Doctor's Christmas specials are amongst my very favourites, which isn't really much of a surprise, since 12 is my favourite Doctor. Though each are different in their own way, they do share some broad, common links and themes. They each see the Doctor reunited with a figure from his personal past, Clara in Last Christmas, River in The Husbands of Riversong, Grant in The Return of Dr. Mysterio, and himself in Twice Upon a Time. Themes of loss and endings are explored in each of these specials to a certain extent, and in tone they're quite reflective, characterised by a sense of melancholy. The ironically titled Last Christmas depicts Clara in a world where Danny Pink is still alive, only for this to be exposed as an illusory dream state. It's an episode that plays with our perceptions so drastically that it makes us wonder for a moment whether this is the end of the line for Clara. Even though she did end up staying past this episode into Series 9, it is perhaps worth noting that it was the last Christmas special Jenna Coleman appeared in, and so, in a sense, this was Clara's last Christmas. The Husbands of Riversong is, on the surface, lighter in tone, but the final scene on Beryllium is a bittersweet one, with the Doctor having to come to terms with the fact that the night he's about to spend with Riversong will be their last one together. The scene features a direct quote from the previous special, which I think is a really nice touch. Every Christmas is last Christmas. A similar technique is used at the end of The Return of Dr. Mysterio to give what is otherwise a fun romp a bit more emotional gravitas. And Twice Upon a Time is an episode fundamentally concerned with the idea of letting go. But despite any gloom and doom, these specials also all end on an optimistic note. As summarised by the Doctor, everything ends and it's always sad. But everything begins again too, and that's always happy. The message at the heart of Twice Upon a Time, and perhaps these 4 specials as a whole, is that in order to keep on living, we must come to terms with the past and look forward to the future. So, what do you love about the Doctor Who Christmas specials? I'd love to hear your thoughts, so be sure to post them in the comments section below. I'll be back soon for some more Doctor Who videos, but for now I'd like to wish a happy Christmas to all of you at home.